This morning I'm making pie crust, my favorite recipe. It never fails, so I'm going to show you how I do it. First of all, I want you to know I washed my countertop really clean and with some Clorox in the water to make it nice and sanitary, but I need lots of room to work, so I don't work well on a rolling board. Okay, first I'm going to dip my flour out into a large bowl. And like I always tell you, you need to stick with good quality flour and good quality shortening because that will make a big difference in your pies. Okay. I'm going to stir in a little salt. And then I'm going to put in my shortening. I'm going to cut that in with a pastry cutter until it's all blended. You'll have a crumbly mixture when you get it blended correctly. There, it's pretty crumbly now. Okay, next I have 2 egg yolks here. And I'm going to measure in some vinegar with it. And this is the secret to the pie crust. This is why it always turns out very good. And then I'm going to add enough cold water to make 1 cup. That up with something here, blend it all together, and I'm going to put it in the center of the bowl of the flour mixture. I'm going to stir that all together. You want to form a soft dough ball. In case it's too dry, you might need to add a little more water. Or if you get it too wet, you can knead it a little bit. I'm going to add a little more water to it. Okay, now I'm going to add spoon out a little flour here on the working board. Turn the dough out here and knead it for a few minutes just to work it all together. Now, since I always make 5 pie crust out of this, I'm just going to divide it into 5 balls. Try to get them as equal as I can. Some of these got a little bit bigger than others. That way you don't have to worry about not having enough dough. And then I'll show you what we do with the rest of the dough when we're done. Okay. Want the flour on the bottom so it doesn't stick. the other one up and do the same way. You fold it over and then lift it into the pie plate. Okay. And if you see the edges are close, you can just stretch the dough up over the edges. You want to crimp around this one. Okay, this is the fifth one, and I'm all finished with these, so I'm only going to use one, and I'm going to store the others in the freezer, and you can do the same if you don't need 5. But I'll show you in a minute how I wrap them to store to keep them fresh. But I'm going to make one pie, and it's going to be a cream-filled pie, a chocolate meringue pie. So I want to show you how I bake these when they're for a meringue. First of all, I want to punch holes all over the bottom of it so when it bakes it doesn't bubble up. It lets the air through. In this case, you go all the way around the sides also with a fork. Just punch holes all over. And then, because the cream pies are have a tendency to get soggy if you put them in the, when you pour them in the pie shell, I always take a little egg white with water and just whip it up, and then I take my pastry brush and just coat it. And when this bakes, that puts a coating on it so the cream or the custard or whatever you're baking will not make the crust soggy. That's very easy. It's just a little step that's worth doing. Now, I don't prepare all the crust like this if I'm going to freeze them. I do it as I go.